All right, Class 4A, a new episode right here on the Arkansas Sports Network of the ASN Ranking Show as a part of our Arkansas Sports Network High School. Um, High school football is more than in full swing, and we've got it covered for you on the Arkansas Sports Network. Whether it's uh, Northwest Arkansas, Central Arkansas, South Arkansas, we've got it all covered. We are all over the state doing a new game of the week every week. If you didn't see the announcement, this week we will be in Ozark for Mark Tree versus Ozark. That's going to be a really exciting game. Um, it'll be should be Brad Caldwell and Duran Miller on the call. Um, and it's going to be a lot of fun. If you can't watch the game live, we will post it for you to go back and watch it on our Facebook and YouTube, and it will be live at 7 o'clock on Friday night. Um, and it's going to be a good game between the Eagles and the Indians. T.J. Hodges versus Davion Bell, the two fantastic running backs going back and forth. Should be a fun one. Aside from that, if you haven't already, go ahead and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and X, and subscribe to us right here on YouTube. Hit the notification bell if you want to be notified whenever Arkansas Sports Network posts a new YouTube video. But other than that, we're going to go ahead and get into Class 4A here. Number one, to nobody's surprise, is the Elkins Elks. They continue their dominance and haven't had a whole lot of pushback from anybody just yet. Of course, we had them at the ASN Classic when they played Warren. If you want to learn more about the Elks and see what they look like, you can go watch our live stream from the ASN Classic at Arkansas Tech, where they played the Warren Lumberjacks. Number two, Mills. Um, they're still undefeated. They are they've become a perennial power in the class, um, and just um, they've got a lot of really talented players there year in and year out, and the coaches have been able to put that talent together and form a very competitive program. Um, of course, they have their eyes set on War Memorial at the end of the season. Elkins, though, looks like the premier team in the class at this point with players like Jaquay Walden and Landon Martin. Number three, Southside Charter. The Southerners, led by Coach Kenny Simpson, have been on a roll. Um, got off to a bit of a sluggish start as far as competing with some of the teams earlier in the season, but they have come out and had they've hit on all cylinders recently. Coach Simpson leading his team into the number 3 spot in our rankings and for sure a contender in Class 4A. Number 4, Warren. They're a team that everybody was really high on in the offseason, coming into the season. A lot of people's opinions on them really haven't changed. They're still a contender. Um, they can't turn the ball over as much as they did against Elkins if they want to win a state title. But Coach Embry at Warren, he's a fantastic coach. He knows how to get the troops rallied, and he is going to make sure that they are in tip-top shape by the start of the postseason. Wouldn't be surprised if we saw Warren and War Memorial at the end of the season. Number 5, Arkadelphia, another team that people were really high on in the offseason. Arkadelphia has come out and really met a lot of expectations this season. They are in our top 5 for a reason. They played some really tough competition in non-conference, so that might have bumped them down a little bit. But when it comes to playing opponents from their class, they've looked pretty good. Um, and Arkadelphia is still a team to look out for as a team that could make a run to the state title game as well. Number 6, Malvern and Bishop Allen. Malvern is a team, of course, like we talk about pretty much every week. You lose Jalen Dupree, you lose J.D. Plumley. How are they going to respond? They've responded in the strongest possible form. Malvern has come out blazing hot, and they look like they can compete with just about anybody in the class as well. The Leopards are rolling to our number 6 spot this week. Number 7, Highland. Of course, um, the big talking point of Highland in the offseason was how much returning production they had. Um, They have a pretty solid foundation at that program, but they've got some tough games on the schedule. We're going to see if Highland can respond and keep things up in the postseason and get a couple wins rattled off and maybe move up in our rankings a little bit. Number 8, Clinton. Clinton's a team that plays in a really tough conference. Of course, last season in that conference, it was a razor thin margin for who got into the playoffs and who didn't. Right now, Clinton looks like they're going to have a pretty good shot at making the playoffs, and they're looking like a pretty solid postseason contender. Of course, with so many teams in Class 4A, sometimes it's hard, and you kind of get lost in the shuffle. Um, but Clinton has looked pretty good so far this season. Number 9, Mina. Mina's a team that moves into our top 10 this week. They keep rolling. Brody Peters is a name to watch out for at Mina. They have a pretty solid rushing attack, and they have shown that so far this season. Number 10, Gravette. They're another team that moves into our top 10 this week, just barely squeaking in at that number 10 spot. They're undefeated. They're 5-0 at the halfway point of the regular season. They have looked pretty impressive so far. Gravette going to be a team to watch out for down the stretch if they can keep the good times rolling. Well, we're going to go ahead and get into some games here. Got some really exciting action happening in Class 4A this week, starting with Blytheville versus Highland. Highland looking to continue their undefeated season. Blytheville looking to come in and get a statement win at Highland. I'm going to pick the Highland Rebels to get the victory in this game and move their undefeated season one step forward. Bauxite versus Nashville. Both teams maybe not off to the start they wanted to have at the beginning of the season. Bauxite can put up points. Their defense has struggled quite a bit this season. I know it's not the start Coach Perry wanted to have. A lot of people are saying Bauxite was overhyped to start the season. Um, I think that Bauxite uh, could show some improvement and make a deep run into the playoffs. But I also think that Nashville, with their coach, Nashville traditionally a really a team that fights really hard, hence their name of the Scrappers. I'm going to pick Bauxite to get the victory in this game, though. I think that their talent will finally all get put together in this game. Pottsville versus Waldron. Um, Pottsville, a team that we cover right here on ASN every week with their live stream. They've started their season 3-2. They take on a 2-3 Waldron team, and I'm going to pick Pottsville to get the victory in this game and move to 4-2. Stuttgart versus DeWitt. DeWitt was a team that uh, the live stream crew, including myself, last week were able to go see play against Star City, and they looked really good. Corey Graham is the real deal. Pulled off a 1-point victory on the road at Star City. There was a pretty rowdy environment there, and they were able to overcome that. Coach Tommy Cody's crew has it going. So I'm going to pick them to get the victory over Stuttgart this week. Lone Oak and Riverview. Lone Oak is a team that's gotten kind of hot recently. Looks like Coach Bemberg um, is starting to put things together. I think that Lone Oak will get the victory this week over Riverview on the road. They're looking pretty good. Green Forest versus Gentry. I'm going to pick Gentry to win this game. The game is at Gentry. That's definitely not going to help Green Forest. Gentry 4-1, Green Forest 1-4. I think that speaks for itself. I'm going to pick Gentry to get the victory in this game. Genoa Central versus Harmony Grove Haskell. I'm going to pick Harmony Grove Haskell to get the victory in this game and move on and get their first win of the season. Both teams have started 0-5. The winner of this game could change their season pretty drastically. Central Arkansas Christian versus Little Rock Hall. Two Little Rock schools going at it. CAC is going to have to go across town. I'm going to pick This is a tough one. I'm going to pick CAC to get the victory. I think that Coach Plumley will have that team getting better every week. I think Coach Withrow will have his team ready to go as well. I think it's going to be a tough, hard-fought game, but I'm going to pick CAC. I think they have a lot of talent on that team, and I think that Coach Plumley is going to find a way to put it together. Barryville versus Prairie Grove. Prairie Grove 4-1 on the season. The game's at Prairie Grove. Barryville is 1-4. Based on those factors, and the fact that Prairie Grove is looking like they're pretty talented this season, I'm going to pick Prairie Grove to get the victory and move to 5-1 on the season. Two Northwest Arkansas teams, and I'm going to pick Prairie Grove to win that battle. Arkadelphia versus Fountain Lake. Arkadelphia 3-2, Fountain Lake 1-4. Games at Fountain Lake. Fountain Lake proved that they can put up points in their 72-78 loss against Bauxite, that infamous basketball score. I'm going to pick Arkadelphia to get the victory in this game. Should be a pretty good one. Just a really exciting atmosphere or for that one. Ashdown versus Malvern. Malvern is a team that's in our top 10 for a reason. Of course, they keep proving that Coach Fogelman is doing a fantastic job there and that Bishop Allen is a fantastic quarterback. I'm going to pick Malvern to get the victory in this game, even though I think Ashdown has some terrific athletes. Helena Central versus Crossit. Helena Central, 5-1, Crossit 0-5. I'm going to pick Central to get the victory in this game. Mina versus Ozark. Mina going to face a tough test on the road this week. Ozark and Kobe Wilbanks, really talented quarterback. I'm going to pick Mina to get the victory and continue their undefeated season. I think that outside of Wilbanks, Ozark really needs to step up his supporting cast, and I think that Mina just has what it takes to get the victory this week. Trumann versus Gosnell. I'm going to pick Trumann to get the victory in this game and even their record at 500. Southside Charter versus Jonesboro Westside. I think this is a pretty easy pick. I'm going to pick Southside Charter and Coach Kenny Simpson to roll and win big in this game. Hamburg versus Warren. I think that Warren hosting this game will get the victory. I think they've got too much talent for Hamburg to handle. I think that losing their quarterback early in the season hurt them, but once Cam Burke really settles into that role and once he's ready to take that lead, I think that they're going to really improve and show that they are still a very solid contender in the class. Huntsville versus Gravette. I'm going to say Gravette moves to 6-0 after a win over Huntsville this week. They're going to move up in our top. They should move up in our top 10 once again if somebody loses this week. And looking at some of the games that these schools have, it's going to be a tough top 10 next week. And it's going to be a tough top 10 the rest of the season with how balanced the 4A looks. Forest City versus Mills. Coach Swinton got his first win at Forest City as the head coach last week. Mills is a team that we have in our top 2, at number 2 behind the Elkins Elks. Mills, they're a really solid program. They sent a guy to the Razorbacks last season who was highly recruited, Charleston Collins. We talk about him pretty often when we talk about Mills, just to amplify the talent that they have. I'm going to pick Mills to get the victory in this game. Elkins versus Lincoln. I think this is going to be a really high-scoring game. I think that Elkins gets the victory ultimately, but I do think it's going to be a really high-scoring game between two Northwest Arkansas teams. Dover versus Lamar. Dover's a team that's got a lot of history at that program, but recently the program has been kind of down. I'm going to pick Lamar to get the victory at home this week. Pocahontas versus Cave City. Pocahontas, I think, will win this week and even their record at 3-3. They're just more talented than Cave City, and I think that they're going to pull off the victory this week. Heber Springs versus Bald Knob. Coach Carmichael at Heber Springs in his first season doing a pretty solid job there. Um, I'm going to pick Heber Springs to get the victory and even their record at 3-3 this week. Dardanelle versus Clinton. This might be the Class 4A game of the week. Dardanelle, probably a team that's just outside of our top 10 this week. Of course, Coach Vega and his son Creed Vega are the ones that make that machine go. I think that Dardanelle has a really good shot at pulling off an upset this week, but I'm going to pick Clinton to get the victory. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, but I do think that eventually Clinton will get the victory. Star City versus Monticello. I think this is going to be a really good game as well. Star City, I got to see firsthand last week, going to their game against DeWitt. Um, they have a really talented backfield. They have some really talented receivers, and their quarterback uh, made a couple of questionable throws in that game. But I do think they have the talent to win this week. I'm going to pick Star City to beat Monticello on the road. I think that they are going to get back on track under Coach Norton. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of the ASN Rankings Report for Class 4A. Going to be a tough week for a lot of teams. The top 10 could look a lot different after this week, especially with that Clinton versus Dardanelle game. But for now, I'm Carson Ward, the host of the ASN Rankings Show. Don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on Instagram, X, and Facebook. Until next time, signing off.